With the Enjoy Yourself mod, weird name I know, I was able to create my own clone army, 99 Garys for now. The Imperium of Gary was born, and our mission? To transform the Commonwealth into the Gary Wealth. This meant that Codsworth must die. All land has been promised to Garys, and all others are to be eliminated. I then used the mod's holotape to activate the Garys, but found some suspicious settings as well, to say the least. Regardless, the Imperium of Gary marched onwards till we reached Concord. I was actually intending to rescue Preston so I can absorb the Minutemen into the Imperium, but he ended up getting killed. Whatever, we don't need him. Expanding the borders of the Imperium, we executed Trashcan Carla for illegal entry, saved Trudy from chem pushers, then had her and her son executed for squatting on Imperium land. Our conquest then expanded to Cambridge, where we purged the feral ghouls and thought that Dance would be a useful pawn in my schemes, so I decided to help him out for now. During this quest, one of the Garys had died, meaning that he was weak and that the Imperium is now stronger. We Garys are far superior to synths, and as a show of strength, I had us fight synths for much longer than necessary. It was here that I learned elevators are very cramped now, but we expanded the Imperium forward and executed more settlers for squatting on our land. Our borders then reached Vault 81, and we used our superior Gary intellect to trick them to letting us in the vault, only to massacre every single squatter we saw. This shall be a land of Gary, and all others must die. The Garys were absolutely delighted and shuddered in anticipation of killing even more non-Garys. One of the last survivors dared to spew her horrible non-Gary language and Gary racism, and was immediately sentenced to death by Gary. The Imperium then absorbed Diamond City, where I gave Piper the bonk of mercy to show her that Diamond City would be spared of bodily eviction. For now. We then marched forward, destroyed Swan, and flooded Park Street Station with Garys in the blood of our enemies. We then rescued Nick, who would be also spared. For now. It was then that I discovered a degenerate amongst us, an aberration of Gary purity. I had to do it. Only those of the true Gary blood must remain, and all those who stray must be cut away. The Imperium then obliterated Skinny Malone and packed inside Nick's office. We then moved our conquest westward to Fort Hagen and eliminated King Baldy and washed ourselves of the weaker Garys to boot as well. A rival power then arrived, the Brotherhood of Steel. We then expanded the Imperium to Good Neighbor and spared them for now in order to go through King Baldy's memories. The Imperium then commenced our invasion of the Deep South. We marched onward, destroying any creature that was on our land. We then found Virgil's cave, who would be allowed to live for now in order to assist us with getting into the Institute. Green Tech Genetics was next, where there was an Institute Courser at the top. We have to kill him, and we would, if the Imperium had any Garys left, as they were too weak and died on the journey up. I had to leave to replace our forces with superior Garys and return to deliver the Courser's sentence. The Imperium now gained the Courser chip, and we needed it decoded. Of course, our superior Gary intellect could do it, but I decided to give a chance to this non-Gary group called the Railroad. The Imperium then realized this was a stupid idea and massacred the Railroad and decoded the chip ourselves. We need no one. And now, we no longer need Virgil. He gave us the plans, and now he must die. Since the Minutemen are now dead, the Brotherhood instead would make for capable proxies. We were flown to their airship and dropped tactical Garys to secure our empire. We were told that their elder would give us a speech, but we were lied to. The Brotherhood had no idea what they have just done. Despite this, the Brotherhood still has one last iota of usefulness, and with their assistance, they got us into the Institute. The Brotherhood have now outlived their usefulness, as I can now absorb the Institute into the Imperium, though I convinced Madison Lee to join the Brotherhood as an excuse to get rid of her. Now that we have the Institute, it was time to begin Operation Gary Wealth. We must assert our power through the elimination of all organized opposition and illegal non-Garys within the Imperium territory. For this, we would need many more Garys, and this is where the Institute comes into play. They have upgraded our army, equipping them with energy weapons. The first phase of the plan was removing the Brotherhood. First, we destroy their garrison at Boston Airport. Then, we board the Pridwin and slaughter everyone. The Brotherhood campaign was hard fought. There was chaos, gunfire, Gary and non-Gary blood was spilled, but eventually, order and silence. It took the sacrifice of many Garys and the full might of the Imperium, but the Brotherhood were no more, and the Pridwin was now under our banner. This conflict transformed the Imperium into a true militant empire and strengthened our Gary blood. Second phase is to assert control over major territories. Good Neighbor was first. They had outlived their purpose, and they are not Gary. Their deaths is simply nature taking its course. Then, it was Diamond City. The residents had no questions on why the Imperium brought an army here, but once I fired the first shot, they would never get the chance to ask. Diamond City would be the capital of the Gary wealth, and this means that all non-Garys must die, including Nick Valentine and Piper. They are now no longer useful. Diamond City was now ours. We then expanded to Bunker Hill, and the Institute didn't want to miss out on all of the fun this time. What's there to say? The Imperium has steamrolled everyone we've ever fought, and this was no different. Even the efforts of both the remnants of the Brotherhood and Railroad proved to be pathetic. Bunker Hill was now part of the Imperium as well. Thank you for making this quick. The Institute director then announced I was to be his eventual replacement, accelerating my plans to absorb the Institute into the Imperium. Mass fusion was next, and this time I had to do it all alone. I have to prove that I am the one true Gary, so this was my test. Eventually, the rest of the Imperium joined me, and together we took over the building, and then assisted the Institute with purging the Brotherhood from the tower. The Brotherhood is a persistent threat, but a new one has emerged, a group of mercenaries called the Gunners. This will not slide. They may be a bunch of mercs, but the Imperium is an army. Together, we commenced the third phase of Operation Gary Wealth and marched to their headquarters and mounted a full-scale frontal assault on the Gunners and obliterated everyone in the building. The Gunners are now no longer a factor. We then made a speech to, I don't even know who. The Imperium has slaughtered all other non-Garys, but the Imperium made it clear that we are now in control. I then had to meet with the other Institute directors. Other Institute directors? The Imperium does not share power. The Institute has no idea what it has done. Still, the Institute has one last use in the final phase of Operation Gary Wealth, finishing the remnants of the Brotherhood. This would require the full might of the Imperium, so we've stepped up production of Garys to have the necessary manpower. Even with the largest force the Imperium has ever seen, the Second Brotherhood campaign was long and bloody. This time, the Brotherhood was ready, and just clearing the ground level required the sacrifice of countless Garys. After destroying the Brotherhood's generators, the Institute can now join the battle. After what was likely the most destructive battle these lands have ever seen, and the blood of the Imperium, Liberty Prime was finally hacked and brought down the Pridwin. We were teleported away and looked upon our final victory. The Imperium of Gary has accomplished it. Operation Gary Wealth is complete. Well, no. Remember, this is the Gary Wealth. All land is ours and no one else's. I betrayed the Institute director and instituted a thorough purge of everyone within the Institute. This was the secret phase of Operation Gary Wealth, and I had to do it alone. I had to prove that I was the rightful ruler of the Imperium. But Gary is superior to all, and it is only natural that everyone in the Institute would be slain. The Institute, our last loose end, was no more. I basked in the pure flames of the Brotherhood's destruction and officially crowned Diamond City as our capital. It may have taken the combined might of 740 Garys, but we had done it. The Gary Wealth was born. May the Imperium of Gary reign eternal. Oh, and if you're wondering, I said Gary 50 times in this video. You're welcome.
Hey mister, are you really from the Commonwealth?
Go away, kid. Follow me.